think niggas don't think shit stink. Pink Gators, my Detroit players. Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn.
Hello guys, JK Fitness 151 here, and yeah, today's video is part one of a two-parter, and basically it's going to be training methods to help you progress in the gym. So if you're just doing, say, one set, say you're doing one set of 10, or you're doing 3 sets of 10, this is going to help to spice that up, and it's going to help you to progress your training for whatever you want to be training for. So it's going to be split over 2 videos, and there's going to be 3 training methods per video, and we're going to start with pre and post exhaust, then move down, and then after the 3 we go into part 2. And yeah, if you want to, if you're feeling a bit stagnant in your training and you're not really progressing, or you're not getting anywhere in your training, then this is definitely for you. And it is a lot to take in. That's exactly why it's going to be two videos, part 1 and 2, simply because it's a lot of time as well, and I don't really want to be taking hours of people's time. I'd rather take a half an hour session than, you know, if you want to watch the second part, then watch the second part, you know, instead of one big video. So let's get into the video, and we're going to start with pre and post exhaust. So we're going to start with pre exhaust first, and then we're going to pro exhaust, post exhaust, okay, and then we're going to work our way down. So what is pre exhaust? Because obviously that's before. So this is a compound movement of resistance exercises that will be targeting muscle groups that are, you know, one or more, so multiple muscle groups, and multi-joint movements as well. So an example of a compound movement would be squats or pull-ups or even a deadlift. Yeah, that's what we're sort of talking about. And these will help you to recruit more muscle fibers. So obviously the more muscle fibers you recruit, the better and the stronger you can become, because you're recruiting more muscle fibers to help out. So if you think of, say, a tug of war, and you've got, say, 2 people on your team and the other side's got 5, you know, if you bring 6 or 7 people on your team against 5, you're recruiting more and you're going to get a better force, so you're going to be able to win ultimately, because you're going to have more people there to help pull the tug of war. So that's what we think of with that. And obviously you're going to burn more calories, and it's maximum muscle recruitment as well, so that will help you with everything you do with that. But the way we want to do this is we also work isolation exercises as well, so that's a single joint or muscle. So say a tricep extension or bicep curl. Tricep extension, I do like tricep, can't speak today. I do like tricep extensions as well. I do find them to be really good, especially, especially if you've got the right technique as well, because obviously technique is crucial, and we don't want any imbalances either. So obviously if you want to do a bicep curl, you know, you want to work your triceps as well. It's as simple as that. So that's an example of an isolation movement. So these will recruit as many muscle fibers for one muscle group at a time, and there's less time spent on one muscle at a time. People say that it is better to do one muscle at a time, but I don't really find that to be the case. I find to be, if you work a few muscles at a time, it also helps to burn more calories if you use more at a time as well. So if you're using like multiple muscle groups. So what we want to do with the pre-exhaust is we want to use a combination of both compound and isolation exercises to exhaust that muscle. So basically fatigue that muscle group. Because obviously if you're going to maximum effort and you are going to fatigue that muscle, then therefore you are going to help with the endurance and strength and the building of that muscle. And don't get me wrong, it can be quite hard to do. It's quite hard to sort of wrap your head around, especially if you're new to the gym. You know, you've never done like a qualification in the gym or anything like that. You know, you just go because you want to get fitter, but you don't quite know exactly how to progress your training. So like, say if you were stuck at the same place and you don't quite know what you need to do next, you know, or you're like, you know, I'm getting a bit bored of this. Mix up your routine, definitely, and this will help you to mix up your routine. All of these methods I'm teaching you right now. But obviously, these methods aren't just for people who are just starting at the gym. Obviously these are for people who have already been at the gym before, but they don't quite know what the next step is or where to progress next. That's what this is for. If you just go to the gym and you do something like a superset, which is like, it's like 4 or more exercises in one. So like say you go straight onto the bicep curl and you go on to something else and something else and something else. No, sorry, it's supersets 2 or more. You don't want to be doing that when you've just started, especially if you're doing it for every single exercise that you do, because that will really, really take it out of you. It'll probably even injure you if you're not trained. So moving on to how would we set out a pre-exhaust exercise. So a pre-exhaust would be, obviously you want to do an isolation exercise. So you can start off with, say, the tricep extension, and then after that you want to be doing a compound exercise. So that would be like, say, some squats. So if you go into the tricep extension, you want to go into some squats or something like that. So you've got to think of different muscle groups that it could be worked. Okay, and I'm sure there'll be loads of charts at the gym as well that will show you, like, say, what muscles are being worked where. So obviously with say your quads, obviously there's 4 muscles in there, 4 big muscles in your quadriceps, and in your hamstrings there's 3. So you could do your quads and your hamstrings as an example of a compound exercise. But obviously that's for you to decide and determine whether you think it's an isolation or a compound. Then you've got to do one after the other type of thing. So you want to do a set of, for pre-exhaust you want to do a set of isolation and then compound, and then you go from there. And what will happen is you're basically trying to overload the muscle growth and stimulation in it, and you're going to fatigue it. That is your ultimate goal, but you don't want to do it aggressively. You want to do it the way that it's set out to be done. You don't want to just like lift like as much as you can as possible and then just go from there, because that's completely different, and you will probably injure yourself as well. So if you do this, you do an isolation and then you do a compound, then you will be ultimately fatiguing that muscle. Yeah. So but obviously it's got to be the same, So if you're going to do legs, for example, and you want to do a pre-exhaust set for your legs, a good one to do would be, say, a leg extension, and then followed by squats. So the leg extension is obviously, it's an isolation because it's just working one muscle group, whereas the squats are working more. Yeah, so if you understand that, that's great. That's absolutely brilliant. So isolation first, then compound. That's how you do it. Okay. Now moving on to post-exhaust. So post-exhaust is quite a bit different, and I'm going to explain how. So post-exhausts are kind of like a mirror image though, although they are a bit different. They are like a mirror image. And to do a post-exhaust set, you want to be doing, come on, it'll come to us. You want to be doing a targeted isolation muscle. So, but you aren't going to want to fatigue it. So you want to maximise your performance, which is exactly what you want. So after completing an exercise that is isolation based, you want to be making sure that muscle is thoroughly exhausted, and then the muscle fibres will be maximally damaged, which will stimulate the growth. So you've got to note that post-exhaust sets are kind of like supersets in a way. The exercise before, like the 1 or 2 exercises performed without rest. So post-exhaust set would be to do the leg extension, which is isolation, then go straight into the squatting, because that's obviously that's one set. That counts as one set. So you do the leg extension first, and then you would go on to the squats. So you've done your set of that, then you move into your set of that, then after that that's your break. So that's counted as one set. So that's 2 exercises, that's counted as one set. So the difference is, basically, with a pre-exhaust, you're basically doing 1 set of one and then 1 set of the other, but obviously having a rest in between the 2. So that's counted as 2 different exercises. Whereas post-exhaust is going to be like a superset. So you want to be doing leg extension and straight into squats, then you rest. Alright, that's the difference. So obviously a post-exhaust set is for more trained people. So if you've already been trying pre-exhaust and you want to go into say a little bit, something a little bit different, a little bit more challenging, that's what you would go into. So that's the difference between pre and post-exhaust, and I hope that's helped you a lot if that's the type of training you want to do. But obviously it's not just for legs, it's for arms, it's for everything. You've got to know what the isolation exercises you're going to do, then the compound exercise that follows. Okay, whether you're doing pre or post exhaust. So with me talking about supersets, I'm going to move on to what is a superset now, because we don't want to get a bit sidetracked. So what is a superset? Now a superset, it can be done in a few different ways, which I'll explain the methods just in a little short while. So basically it's working 4 or more superset. No, it's not, it's working 2 or more. It's working 2 or more, which I was saying before, superset. So when I go to the gym, I'll do quite a bit of superset, and I'll do trisets as well, depending on what I want to do or what I'm sort of going to, because I've got the point now where if I just do one exercise but split it into 3 different exercises, it doesn't seem to quite challenge me. So what I do now is I do a triset for when I'm doing top half day, which because it's a split routine. So one day is top half and the next day is legs. So that's how I like to set mine out. So a superset is 2 or more exercises, and obviously you want to make it balanced, so you want to make sure that it's opposites, because that's the whole point, essentially, because you want to have a good posture. If you don't have a good posture, then that's really not going to help you out in any way, shape or form. So the whole point of doing a superset is to perform and work more in less time, type of thing. So that's what it is. So you're cramming 2 or more exercises into one big set. But remember, this is for people who have been to the gym and are ready to progress to that next step. Because if you just go straight into a gym, like after you've done your induction, you go straight into the gym and you start training like that, your muscles aren't used to it, and that can really can heighten the risk of injury. So it's best to have been at the gym for a while, know what you can and can't do, and then if you feel you need to progress, these are the types of things you go into. Okay, it's not for people who've just started the gym and they're like, whoa, yeah, I can do that. Because there is method to the madness, trust me. It's not just go straight in there guns blazing. Okay, so it's quite effective for helping different muscle groups work, and it's quite good for time restrictions. I can't talk today. I don't know what it is. It's quite good for time restrictions as well. So if say you're on a lunch break at dinner, and you go to the gym wherever you work, or you've been at the gym, this can be good for that, because you're doing like 2 or more exercises in one big set, and if you do 4 sets of them exercises, there's 4 exercises done in one go. So yeah, it does sound good, but it does really test the endurance of your muscles as well. Because if you're doing 1 set, and like say you're working your arms, I do tricep when I go to the gym, which is 3 or more. When I'm doing the top half, I'll do the chest press with the dumbbells, then I'll go into the tricep extension, and then I'll do the shoulder press, But I do them 3 in one go, and that really does test like me, because I'm training for hypertrophy as well. So because I'm training for hypertrophy, it's like heavier weights, and obviously with us doing a set of 3, yeah, you can imagine how much my arms are absolutely killing after that. But it's all worth it, and because I'm used to it, and obviously I'm getting used to it more and more and more, because I've already trained before, that's the types of things you need to be thinking of. So when you first start the gym, you want to be thinking of, right, I need to know that I can do a shoulder press first, or I can do with a good technique as well. Once you've mastered all that, and you think, right, I need the next step, this is where this video comes in, okay? Because that's essentially what I want to do. I want to put my phone on silent. I essentially want to help you progress, because that is the hardest part. I remember being stuck at the same place for ages and ages, and then suddenly I was like, oh, I know all these things, it can help other people. So that's exactly what you want to do when you do these types of things like a superset. So I'll get into the methods now. I'll explain the methods of different types. Now these are the most popular types. You know, these aren't getting too complicated, because essentially that's not what you want. You don't want really bad information. You don't want it to be a bit too advanced either. So I'm trying to keep it at a good, reasonable level. I want everyone to be able to do this. And then obviously if you want to do a little bit more advanced, then go into your own type of research and do that yourself. That's completely fine. But I want to have a stepping stone. I want people to know for a fact that I know what I'm talking about for a start, and also how to do the training itself. So we start off with the post-exhaust supersets. And like I was explaining to you before about post-exhaust. So it takes fatigue and DOMS to a whole new level. So if you know what fatigue is, it's basically where your muscles and everything, you just feel really bad and tired, you know. DOMS is the delayed onset of muscle soreness. So after you come from the gym, like say the next day you wake up and you can't even get out of bed because your legs are killing, you know, that's that type of thing. That's what it is when they're really aching and they're really sore. That's what DOMS is. And that can last between 12 to 72 hours after you've been at the gym. So that can last from say 1 to 2 days after the gym, for example. So what this includes is an isolation exercise, and then you go into a compound exercise straight after. So that's what that is. But I've got it split down into compound and isolation as well, and then there's a staggered superset after that. So that's what the post-exhaust is. Now if you want to do just compound exercises, for example if you want to do a bench press followed by an incline bench press, so that's what a compound one is. So it's working two or more muscle groups at the same time, but it's like obviously adding a bit of difficulty to it. So this method should only be used, the compound one, and I can only stress it must be used by people who are advanced in their training. So people who haven't just joined the gym type of thing, or they haven't been going for like a couple of weeks. These are for people who've been for quite a while, because of the intensity and the demands on the muscle groups and your body itself, because there's nothing worse than that. So essentially the method should only be used by advanced trainees, simply because of the fact you're using heavy weights as well, and we don't want no injuries, especially not me. I don't want no injuries. And it essentially can lead to a lot of stress, and it can lead to a lot of fatigue on your central nervous system as well. And once that's fatigued, I've seen quite a few people now that I didn't know this until a couple of weeks ago, but your central nervous system is basically like, you know, your spine and your brain, and it helps to send messages down to different parts of your body. So like say if I wanted to go over and touch the camera right now, that's my central nervous system telling me to do that, right? So it's sending messages. So because it's sending a lot of stress and fatigue to that to your central nervous system, what can happen is you can actually feel depressed after being at the gym. So do you know how you get the endorphins? This is sort of like the opposite to that. So if you fatigued your central nervous system, that could be due to a lack of rest days, due to plateau, or due to, it could just be one of them things when you've been at the gym. You know, you might just have a bad day. But that could be one of the reasons why you have that bad day, because your central nervous system is essentially fatigued. And if it's fatigued, then yeah, that will really, it could set you back, because you can feel depressed for the next few days after the gym. And, you know, you need to rest properly. So if that does become the case, that's something you can look into and figure out whether that's what you think it could be. Obviously I can't be the judge of that because I'm not at the gym with you, but that is something to consider. So moving on to isolation. So we know a compound is two or more muscle groups being worked at once, so like multiple. So isolation is one muscle group at once. So an example of this could be, say, a barbell curl. So yeah, barbell curl, or even a hammer curl, because it's just focusing on one muscle group. So another one, like I said before, it could be like, say, a tricep extension. That's a good one. But it allows you to focus and completely destroy one muscle group at a time. So if you're just doing the bicep curl, that's just one muscle group being worked, and it's an isolation exercise due to that fact, because it's only the biceps being worked. So you can double the work roughly if you want to, by doing this, because you're only focusing on one muscle group at a time, which helps to obviously define or build that certain area that a little bit more, because you focus on that a little bit more. So that's what an isolation superset would be. So it's 4 or more exercises in one, but obviously of that one isolation method. So now we move on to the last one of the supersets, which is a staggered superset. And staggered superset will be, it's, for example, you want to do a bench press and calf raises. It's hard to really put a finger on exactly how to describe this one, but it's where you work 2 completely unrelated muscles. So that's why it's called staggered, because it's not exactly following the routine, you know what I mean? It's working, say, your arms, and then you go straight to your legs. So that's how that works, and it allows you to work all the sort of like the lagging body parts, or the, you know, all the muscles that you've got. So say if you've got muscle groups that you think that need working a bit more, you can work them in this staggered set. So say if you think that, say, you know, your shoulders aren't getting enough work, you can basically do, like, you know, shoulder shrugs, or work your shoulders by doing a shoulder press. Then go straight into, say, if your calves need doing, you can go straight into your calves after that. You know, so you basically working the muscle groups that you don't particularly think that are really that strong or they need work on. That's what you would use a staggered set for, because you're basically focusing on the muscle groups that you think need working the most. But you want to make sure that you do balance it out if you're going to do that as well. However, if your muscle isn't, if your body isn't if it isn't quite balanced, that would be the whole point of doing it, really, because it's not balanced, and it's to fix them little bits and pieces here and there. This is why you do a staggered set for, and you want to make sure that obviously that's what you really need to work on, because if you're really focusing on something, then it's going to sort of be built a bit more. So you could dedicate one session to fixing these imperfections or these little defects, or you could even spend a couple of weeks. It depends on how you really want to go at it, but make sure you work everything else that you need to work as well. So moving on to the final method for this part 1, and that is a pyramid set. So what is a pyramid set? So a pyramid set is basically, you can either build upwards or you're going to build downwards, okay, or you can build up and then down. It depends on how you want to go about it. So pyramids, so what you'll start with, say, is like, say, well, it's going to be explained further on in the video anyway, but you want to start with like a lightweight, and then you want to do 10 reps of the lightweight. Then the next set you want to do, say, 8, and then go up a little bit higher in terms of weight. Then you want to go into, say, 6, and then obviously you lift, the weight goes up as the reps go down, type of thing. That's doing the pyramid. And then obviously going down, you start off with, say you know, a heavy weight, doing 4 sets. Then the next one you go down, you do 6 sets with a lighter weight. Then you do 8 sets, not 8 sets, 8 reps with a lighter weight. And that's how you want to set that out. So there are 3 different types of this, but there's only really two proper ways of sort of describing it. So what you can do is you can do ascending, and obviously ascending is where you start off with a lighter weight with higher reps for each set. So you want to start off with say I don't know, 10 kilograms and do 10 reps. Then the next set you want to do, if you're using a 10, use a 12, and then you want to do lighter reps. So you want to do, say, 8 reps. Then after that you want to do 6 reps and a heavier weight, and then that's it. You only need to do 3 to 4 sets maximum. And then obviously if you feel like you want to go down again, obviously it's just opposite. So, but you want to make sure that you do the desired reps. So obviously you want to make sure that when you're doing it, to properly do the ascending one, as the weights go up, the reps go down. You want to make sure that's what you do if you're doing the ascending. Obviously there is the opposite, which is descending, and that's where you use heavier weight with fewer reps. So ascending is obviously you go up, and then you do less reps, and then descending is obviously the complete opposite. So an example would be, say, obviously if you're going up and so you start off with 10 and you finish off with 4 in terms of your reps. This one is going to start with 4 and then work its way down to 10. Okay, as the weight will become lighter. So that's how you do the pyramids. And why is it good to do? Why should you do that? And that's exactly why. It's to help to progress your training. And I do hope that you found all of this very, very helpful. And if you did, brilliant. Subscribe, like the page, follow the page on Instagram as well. That's what it's all there for. And if you're in the Durham area, you want personal training, you want services like that, I offer services like that. All you need to do is get in touch and I can sort you out with that. Got no problem with that. And I will see you again next week, and we will crack on with part 2, which is the last 3 ones to help you progress. And today we've covered pre and post exhaust, and we have also covered supersets, and we've covered pyramids. And all these details and everything is on my Facebook page right now. So if you want to check that, go for it. That's exactly what it's there for. And next week we will be doing trisets, supersets, not supersets, we're doing trisets and giant sets, and we will finally be covering the matrix system, how that works. So until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next week.